I'd like to show you today how to mix and blend one acrylic colour into another. What I've done here is I've mixed 4 values between my 2 colours that I wish to blend. I'm going to blend red into blue. I've mixed values in between each one of those. So we go from red to this colour, to here, to here, to here, and finally to the final blue. I've also used some retardant in the paint, which helps to slow the drying time of the paint and allows me to blend the paint together. If you're using a canvas, I'm not using canvas today, I'm using paper, you can actually place the retardant on the canvas in a thin layer before you start also, as well as in the paints. You need some paper towel to keep your brush clean, so you'll wipe your brush in between each layer. I'm going to mix from red to blue here. So I'm going to start with my blue colour. I need to keep nice and neat into the shape here that I'm painting. And I need to add a fair amount of paint. The red's transparent, so it's going to be more difficult to blend. Going to add my next value alongside that one, right to the edge. My next value. Now these stripes are much thinner because the blended area in the middle I don't want to become too large, otherwise the whole shape will be dominated by really dark tones. I want to have the brightness of the red at the top and a lot of blue at the bottom. And finally, my blue colour. So I'm going to clean my brush really well before I pick up the light blue. And again, it's a slightly transparent colour. The retardant is assisting the paint to stay wetter so that I can work into the paint in this shape. It's a good idea to plan what you can paint at a particular time period, but the great thing about acrylic paints is that mostly you can paint over this again if you get home and find that things have dried or you have to finish your lesson. Okay, I'm going to work from here backwards. I'm just bringing those 2 lines of paint together. I'm just going to clean my brush. I'm going to start moving this line of paint into this one here using a slightly scumbling or brushing motion. Ideally, I should have a rounded brush for this, a brush which has the bristles all coming from a central point. I don't have the advantage of having a brush like that today, so I'm just going to use the brush that I have. And using a motion that blends the paint, I'm going to blend from one row into the next. Now I should have also washed my brush, but I didn't. I flipped the brush over to blend into the next area. Cleaning the brush between each band of colour, just making sure that you do all the little details at the edges. Blending and brushing one area into another clean my brush again. This layer is drying out a little, so I'm just going to apply a little bit more of the paint to this area. That's why it's essential that you mix those values before you start. Now the last layer with the red is going to be the most difficult because the red is transparent. I don't want to contaminate my red paint, so again I'm going to pick up red paint. I need to clean my brush thoroughly. I'm going to apply a nice thick layer of the red paint in any of the areas that's dried out. And I'm now going to start to blend the paint into the next area. So I start by brushing across the edges and blending the edge, one edge against another. Now I have a little bit too much paint, I feel, in this corner here, so I'm actually going to take a little bit of that red away and remove it so I can keep this area fairly clean. So again, just touching and blending the two paints together, the kind of tapping motion. Until you notice that the two colours have blended as perfectly as possible. I'm just smoothing out any additional brush marks and making sure there is no paper or canvas showing through. And there you have a gradation from red to blue.